How exactly did a California girl like me find herself in a barn with a bunch of farm animals on New Year's Eve? Trust me, I was asking myself the same question. The answer begins in 2004, when I was extremely frustrated that I couldn't vote for Howard Dean because a bunch of farmers in Iowa had picked John Kerry. Oh, and that little incident with the scream. I vowed that in 2008, I'd go to the heart of the action and find out why this whole caucus business was so crucial to electing our next president.
When that cold north wind begins to blow, that's when you know it's time to go to Iowa. It's a must-win state where you must shake the hand of every woman, child, and man.
From media reports, I expected to step off the plane into a sea of camera flashes, John Edwards' used car salesman smiles, and dutiful Iowans holding signs and chanting. But in reality, it was much more subtle. Like I said in California, I was a little bit skeptical about what I was going to find here in Iowa, but I've met some amazing people who are very thoughtful and take their voting seriously, and that's been a great comfort to me. I supported Barack Obama this primary season, so we spent some time volunteering on his behalf. We visited the campaign offices of many Democratic candidates, though, and it seemed like no matter who you were rooting for, the experience was very similar. Our best experiences were the ones on the road, where we had incredible access to the candidates. In one 24-hour period, we saw Bill Clinton, John Edwards, and Barack Obama speak to small crowds of a couple hundred people. We literally pulled off the side of a road in a small town called Storm Lake, walked into a junior high school gym, and were suddenly talking to the former President of the United States. For comparison's sake, last year I paid $150 to have the same privilege, but I was sitting in the nosebleed sections of an amphitheater in LA.
I hereby call this caucus to order.
All our efforts led to Caucus Day on January 3rd. And if you're unfamiliar with the caucus process, it's not a far cry from my friends on the farm. We wanted to be in Des Moines so we could experience the media frenzy and be there for Barack's speech, so we attended a caucus in the western part of the city. It's not like most primary elections, where you vote secretly in a booth and go home. In some ways, it's a more powerful throwback to the old Greek Acropolis. You have to publicly stand up and show your support in front of mom and dad, your boss, your kindergarten teacher, and your dentist. Because candidates have to get 15% of the votes in the room to be considered viable to compete, you also have to be prepared to argue your case. All the people who supported Chris Dodd, Bill Richardson, and Dennis Kucinich had to vote for their second choice because they didn't have enough votes. Or so we thought. This actually became a point of contention at our caucus site, which can be described as nothing short of a clusterfuck.
Once your candidate is no longer viable, he or she can't become viable. So it's a law. It's the way we made the caucuses in 1972.
Not only were they not prepared for turnout, which was triple 2004 numbers, the caucus leader was challenged on his knowledge of viability rules and the distribution of delegates. It later turned out that he had misinformed caucus goers, and dozens of them left in frustration.
After talking with the state party, we went back through, we explained exactly what the vote was on the first vote, and a candidate cannot lose viability, meaning Edwards does get a delegate, Hillary gets a delegate, and Obama has a delegate.
Somehow, even though Barack Obama had 3 times the number of supporters as Hillary Clinton and John Edwards did, they each received one of the region's 3 delegates. It was incredibly confusing, and I had a hard time with the chaos. All the while, I couldn't believe that was how we picked the Democratic nominee. So I am headed back to California, and as you can see, the Iowans won me over. We did have a great time here, but I am looking forward to getting back in the sunshine. It was exciting and world-rocking. I was more impressed than I expected to be. Still, I question the relevance of this system in America's future. At the end of the day, I shoveled through all the crap on the political animal farm, and it smelled terrible.